There are some watches that tell you everything within the first few seconds. You glance at them, you understand the design, and you move on. Then there are watches like the Swan and Edgar Horizon, because the longer you spend with it, the more it seems to reveal. This project took over 1.5 years to develop, and the result feels thoughtful rather than rushed. The watch draws inspiration from the White Cliffs of Dover and the Battle of Britain, although it does so in a way that remains subtle. You are not looking at a watch covered in military motifs. Instead, you are looking at a watch that uses texture, colour, and proportion to tell that story. And it all starts with that dial. Before we get into the watch itself, the presentation sets the stage quite nicely. The box is simple, although it carries a refined feel. Finished in a rich blue leather-like material, it feels sophisticated rather than extravagant. Open it up, and you're greeted by a velvet-lined interior where the watch pouch sits neatly on soft cushions. It is all very understated, which feels appropriate for a watch like this. Then comes the best part. You lift the pouch out, undo the fastening, and open it. And there it is. The Horizon immediately captures your attention. Not because it is loud, but because it looks unlike almost anything else at first glance. The centerpiece is undoubtedly the natural white quartz stone dial. Every piece carries its own organic texture and grain, which means no two examples are exactly alike. What makes this dial particularly fascinating, however, is the way it has been constructed. The quartz sits above a Musu black base that absorbs around 99.4% of visible light. As a result, the stone appears almost suspended in space. Depending on the angle and lighting, the dial can seem grounded one moment and remarkably weightless the next. And because the quartz itself has a soft translucence, the visual experience changes throughout the day. It is a dial that encourages a second look, rather than demanding attention immediately. That layered construction is supported by a polished metal ring around the stone, which creates a clean frame and helps emphasize the contrast between the bright mineral surface and the dark void beneath it. It is a clever piece of design because it gives the watch depth without making the dial feel crowded. Then, as your eyes move around the dial, the historical references begin to emerge. At 12 o'clock sits a beautifully executed triangle, finished in 18-karat gold plating. It serves as a tribute to the Battle of Britain plotting clocks. Although even if you knew nothing about the history, it would still work aesthetically. It creates a strong visual anchor and gives the dial a clear sense of direction. And perhaps one of the most overlooked details here is the handset itself. The hands have been CNC machined with genuine three-dimensional structure, and you can see that immediately. Their polished chamfered edges interact with light beautifully. As you rotate your wrist, surfaces appear and disappear. Reflections emerge, then fade away. It creates a constant sense of movement across the dial, even when the watch itself remains perfectly still. The result feels remarkably refined. Moving outward, the case dimensions deserve some praise as well. At 39.5mm across, 11.3mm thick, and 47.7mm lug to lug, the Horizon occupies a very comfortable middle ground. On smaller wrists, it feels composed and elegant. On larger wrists, it still carries enough presence to feel substantial. And because the Miyota 9015 is such a slim movement, the case maintains proportions that feel balanced rather than bulky. That becomes particularly noticeable from the side profile. You have a double-domed sapphire crystal sitting above the dial, and the gentle curvature complements the layered construction underneath. Combined with the anti-reflective coating, it allows the dial to remain the focal point rather than the crystal itself. Then there is the strap. Now, integrated designs can sometimes prioritize appearance over comfort. Yet here, the custom Italian suede strap feels like a natural extension of the case. There is no visible gap between strap and case, which creates a seamless flow across the wrist. More importantly, it simply wears well. And that matters because this is not a watch you wear once and admire from a distance. This is a watch you continue discovering throughout the day. Powering everything is the Miyota 9015, one of the most trusted Japanese automatic movements available in this category. Accuracy is rated between -10 and +30 seconds per day, which falls within expectations for this movement family. More importantly, it is a caliber known for long-term serviceability and proven real-world use. With a beat rate of 28,800 vibrations per hour, a 42-hour power reserve, and a reputation for dependable performance, it feels like an appropriate choice for a watch that places equal emphasis on design and practicality. There is no attempt to impress through unnecessary complexity. Instead, the movement quietly does its job while the design takes center stage. What perhaps makes the Horizon especially compelling, though, is not a single specification. It is the combination of thoughtful design, limited production, and meaningful assembly. Each watch is hand-assembled and regulated in the United Kingdom by Horologium in Maidenhead, and production has been limited to just 300 pieces in this first run. That exclusivity alone does not make a watch better, of course. Yet in this case, it reflects the amount of care invested in the project. The Horizon feels like a watch where the details were considered carefully, whether that is the floating quartz dial, the historical references, the integrated strap design, or the decision to keep the proportions wearable. So if you are someone who appreciates watches with a strong narrative, distinctive dial work, and a more uncommon visual identity, the Horizon Mineral Musu presents a genuinely interesting proposition. It is not trying to imitate a dive watch, a field watch, or a vintage icon. Instead, it follows its own path, and that alone gives it plenty of merit within today's crowded watch landscape. That was all. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to share your experience in the comments.